Welcome, everybody, to the final score. I'm your host, Nicholas Marcinov, and today we are going to be making our NHL Round 1 playoff predictions. So, the regular season has ended. We finally got to this point where we can actually make predictions and get playoff hockey. This is an exciting time, and I cannot wait. As we all know, playoff hockey is the best hockey. This year, we have returned to a normal playoff format despite only playing 56 games, and we also have new divisions. I'm going to just be predicting round by round because when we get towards the conference finals, that is not really decided right now. And so it's kind of hard to make a bracket. So let's just go ahead and jump right into the first of the playoff matchups. First up, we are going straight to the North Division. The Canadiens, you love the Canadiens. So the first matchup is going to be the number one seeded team, the Toronto Maple Leafs, taking on the number four seeded Montreal Canadiens. Now, this is a bit of a lopsided matchup. All throughout the season, you've been hearing how the North Division is the weakest division and that neither of these teams really have what it takes to move on. However, I would probably have to disagree with you. The Toronto Maple Leafs have been playing great, and the Montreal Canadiens with Carey Price, I think that all Carey Price really needs is a good enough chance. Uh, for both of these teams, I don't have the stats up here. I apologize, but if you were looking for more of an in-depth analysis of the two, please go check out the Hockey Guy YouTube channel. He's the one breaking down every single series. I'm just going to be making my gut predictions. The Montreal Canadiens finished with a record of 24, 21, and 11 for 59 points, whereas the Toronto Maple Leafs dominated the division almost from day one with 35, 14, and 7 for 77 points. Head to head, the Toronto Maple Leafs easily won the series 7-2-1 to Montreal's 3-6-1. So this is another big question about these playoffs is the regular season series going to be an indicator because you did play the same opponent about 8 to 10 times depending on which division you were in. And for this particular matchup, I think it's going to be a big indicator of who's going to win. With that being said, I'm going to have to give the edge to the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think that they are just playing too hot right now. They need to get out of the first round. The Montreal Canadiens are going to put up a fight, but I think ultimately the Toronto Maple Leafs are just going to edge them out just a little bit because everybody loves to hear how many games this is going to happen in. 5. Let's go 5. I'm not feeling a long and lengthy series with these two, and it's probably better if the Toronto Maple Leafs take care of business. Game 1s and 2 are really going to tell us how fast we're going to get the series going. But all right, we're going to move on over to the next of the Canadian matchups. It's going to be the number 2 seeded Edmonton Oilers taking on the number 3 seeded Winnipeg Jets. And firstly, just before we say anything, let me just talk to the Winnipeg Jets here, just really quick. What happened? What happened? Why did you guys just suddenly crash and burn? Why? Why did you do this? The Winnipeg Jets, they were doing so well, and then just the last couple of games of the season just so bad. And whenever you come into the playoffs, you don't want to be on this kind of slide. You want to have the momentum. You want your guys to be fierce. If the Winnipeg Jets aren't being fierce, is that an indicator? Possibly. On the season, the Edmonton Oilers went 35, 18, and 2 for 72 points, whereas the Winnipeg Jets went 30, 23, and 3 for 63 points. So Head to head, they Edmonton won the series 7-2-0, whereas the Winnipeg Jets went 2-7-0. This seems pretty clear cut if you ask me. And I'm going to have to side with the Edmonton Oilers. Honestly, like just the amount of scores that Edmonton has with Connor McDavid, um, Draisaitl, this is just insane. And of course, everybody knows this. This is not a surprise to anybody. This is not news. But Connor McDavid hitting 100 points on the season in 53 games. The dude, the dude plays like my created character on NHL games. I just create a character, I only play them, and I easily rack up goals. He is a cheat code. And I think that this is going to be a good series for Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers. So that's what we're going to do. Next up, we're going to move on to the East Division. The East Division was won by the Pittsburgh Penguins. So they are the number 1 seeded team in the East, taking on the number 4 seeded New York Islanders. This is an interesting matchup, mostly because, well, at the beginning of the season, the Pittsburgh Penguins weren't projected to be here. And I know a lot of fans in Pittsburgh would probably like to disagree and say that, no, we had Sidney Crosby, we were going to be there regardless. But I don't think a lot of people really expected them to do what they did and become the first in the East, especially with how the Philadelphia Flyers were playing last season. The Pittsburgh Penguins went 37-16-3 for 77 points. The New York Islanders went 32-17-7 for 71 points. Head to head, though, the Pittsburgh Penguins went 6-2-0 versus the Islanders 2-4-2. This is going to be an interesting game, mostly because the Pittsburgh Penguins have shown that they dominated this series in the regular season. Can they do it again in the playoffs? You know, the New York Islanders, they did go to the Eastern Conference Finals last season, lost out to the Tampa Bay Lightning, so they know how to win. They know how to get there. But I would be doing myself a disservice if I picked the New York Islanders. I just think that the Pittsburgh Penguins are playing too good right now. They have what it takes. They are also the team that my girlfriend picked to go to the Stanley Cup Finals, even though it was just because she thinks penguins are cute. So can't go against my girlfriend. I'm sorry, New York Islanders fans, but you got a good team right there. Barry Trotz is your head coach. Anything can happen. I'm going to also say that this is probably a series that goes, I would like it to go 7. I would like it to go 7. I don't think it'll go 7. I think maybe 6. Yeah, 6 seems like the right amount. Let's just go ahead and move on to the next in the East. That is going to be the number 2 seeded Washington Capitals taking on the number 3 seeded Boston Bruins. And right now, you could probably say the most hated team is the Washington Capitals. And that is mostly because of one person and one person only, Tom Wilson. You know, a lot of people were upset that he didn't get suspended for that hit on the Rangers. He probably should have. Only got fined $5,000. And then the next matchup against the New York Rangers, we all saw what happened. What a glorious day that was. And the Washington Capitals beat the Rangers silly. So the Washington Capitals are kind of like the bad guys in the playoffs. And it's always fun to root for the bad guys, right? But don't forget, the Boston Bruins could be bad guys as well. On the season, though, the Washington Capitals went 36-15-5 for 77 points. The Boston Bruins went 33-16-7 for 73 points. Head to head, though, the Washington Capitals went 4-4-0 against the Boston Bruins, where they went 4-2-2. So that tells me that the Boston Bruins are playing the Capitals very close, and this should be a very close series. Uh I would not doubt that this is probably the series that goes to 7. Out of all the first round matchups, I think this is the most likely to go to 7 games. And I have to lean, well, so far I've been picking the favorite, right? I've picked the Penguins, I picked the Maple Leafs, I picked the Oilers. And right now, I think the Boston Bruins just have a little bit of a chip on the shoulder. This is going to be a hard matchup. Very exciting, but also I'm mostly picking this because I don't want to see Tom Wilson get anywhere near the cup again. No more. He's bad. He's bad. Oh, everybody would want him on his team. Yeah. But we don't want dirty hits. We don't want dirty hits. So comment section might be a little fun this time around. Okay. Well, with that matchup done, let's go ahead and jump on over to the Central Division. We have the Central Division champions. It's the Carolina Hurricanes. The number 1 seeded Carolina Hurricanes are taking on the number 4 seeded Nashville Predators. And what a run the Nashville Predators have been on. Towards the end of the season, that was a close race for the 4th seed with them and the Dallas Stars, who went to the Stanley Cup final and lost to the Tampa Bay Lightning last season. So congratulations to the Nashville Predators for just edging it out and really solidifying their spot, not to mention the last couple of games that they had against the Carolina Hurricanes. Those were very exciting, and maybe if they can keep up the momentum, they might have a good chance to beat the Carolina Hurricanes in this playoff series. The Carolina Hurricanes went 36-12-8 for 80 points. And the Nashville Predators went 31-23-2 for 64 points on the season. That is a big gap between the two teams. Head to head, though, the Carolina Hurricanes went 6-2-0, whereas the Nashville Predators went 2-5-1. As much as I would like to say that the Nashville Predators have a good chance to win the series, I have to lean towards the Carolina Hurricanes. Whenever I was trying to do videos about the teams that make the playoffs, which unfortunately had to get cut short because of college and just finals are right around the corner. Even right now, I have to start studying for so many finals. I said the Carolina Hurricanes probably don't care who the first round opponent is because they've been playing so well. I have to stand by what I said, and I think the Carolina Hurricanes are probably going to control this series relatively quickly. I wouldn't be surprised if it is even a 4-game sweep. So that's my prediction for the Carolina Hurricanes versus the Nashville Predators. Next up, we're going to, well, oddly enough, the matchup of Florida. The number 2 seeded Florida Panthers are taking on the number 3 seeded Tampa Bay Lightning. This is a matchup that intrigues me so much. I am ecstatic for the Florida Panthers right now. This team has surprised me. They, okay, let me just talk about the records really quick. The Florida Panthers went 37-14-5 for 79 points on the season. Tampa Bay Lightning went 36-17-3 for 75 points. Head to head, though, the Florida Panthers actually edge out the Tampa Bay Lightning with 5-2-1 versus the Tampa Bay Lightning's 3-5-0. The Florida Panthers have been playing great this season. And this team, Oh, how I want them to win so badly. They are exciting. They felt like they have been on the cusp of making the playoffs for years now. And it finally happened. They have good guys around them. And then you have the Stanley Cup champions from last season. This is a huge, huge matchup. Can the Florida Panthers get past the first round? They have missed the playoffs in a lot of years, whereas this Tampa Bay Lightning just won the Stanley Cup. Last season, in my predictions, I almost always win against the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I learned my lesson, unfortunately. I have to go with the former Stanley Cup champions, the Tampa Bay Lightning, against the Florida Panthers. As much as I want the Florida Panthers to win, and they have been playing such great hockey, I just think that whenever it comes to the playoffs, you get Tampa's goaltender, Vasilevsky, just it'll be game over for the Panthers. It's sad. It's really sad. But I hope that the Panthers can continue their momentum next season. And I also hope that the next video that I do predictions on, I might be wrong. So we will go ahead and just move. Oh, wait. Because I want the Panthers to have a nice long streak, I want this series to go to 7 games. I don't know if it will go to 7 games, but I hope it does. And that's just so the Florida Panthers can have a lot of playoff experience. All right. Next up, we are going to be talking about the West Division. So, first off, let's go ahead and talk about the number 1 seeded Colorado Avalanche taking on the St. Louis Blues. The Colorado Avalanche went 39-13-4 on the season for 82 points, whereas the St. Louis Blues went 27-20-9 for 63 points on the season. The Colorado Avalanche, they won their last 5 games of the season to secure the spot. Even though they tied with Vegas for the most points in the league, it was the regular season or regular wins that won them not only the division, but the President's Trophy. So we all know what that means. The Colorado Avalanche will not be winning the Stanley Cup championship this year because of the President's Trophy curse. So congratulations, Colorado. But who knows? Lots of Avalanche fans I've seen are defending it, saying the last time they won the President's Cup, they won the Stanley Cup. So we'll see if that happens. The St. Louis Blues have actually been picking up a little bit of momentum their last couple of games going into the playoffs. And so I don't think this is going to be a series where you just sit back and think that the St. Louis Blues are going to roll over and die for the Colorado Avalanche. I think they are actually going to make the Avalanche work for this playoff series win. It is going to be a hello Crash. Sorry, my dog just walked into the room. This is going to be a big playoff series, and we're really going to see how the Colorado Avalanche are going to answer being the overall favorite to win the Stanley Cup this season. On the season, head to head, Colorado Avalanche went 5-3-0 versus the St. Louis Blues, who went 3-5-0. It's a good matchup for the St. Louis Blues. They play the Colorado Avalanche tough, but not tough enough. And I do have to side with the Colorado Avalanche in the first round. Unfortunately, the Blues, their midseason collapse was really damning to them. And hopefully next year they can get it together. They just feel like they're missing something right now. And they will be a tough out. I'm expecting about 6 games for this series. But let's just go ahead and go on to the last of the matchups. It will be the Vegas Golden Knights taking on the Minnesota Wild. And anybody who's a fan of the channel, who knows me, knows that my favorite team is the Vegas Golden Knights. And probably my second favorite team are the Minnesota Wild. I'm actually genuinely excited for this matchup. The Minnesota Wild are also my little brother's favorite team. I'm really happy the Minnesota Wild have Kirill Kaprizov. He's been doing fantastic, whereas the Vegas Golden Knights have dominated the West Division all season and then just unfortunately fell that short to the Colorado Avalanche. On the season, though, the Vegas Golden Knights went 40-14-2 for 82 points, and the Minnesota Wild went 35-16-5 for 75 points on the season. Head-to-head, the Vegas Golden Knights went 3-4-1, whereas the Minnesota Wild went 5-1-2. And this matchup, oh, what a matchup it's going to be. As we saw in the last couple of games between these two, they got really physical. I am expecting a very physical matchup with these two teams. I think it's going to be fast, and it could get out of hand really, really fast. The thing that Vegas has is, despite losing the regular season series, whenever they have lost, they have usually kept it close, whereas whenever they won, it usually seems to be a little bit more of a dominating win. So, well, actually, let me just show you guys this really quick. So this is the jersey that I chose to wear. Sorry, it's a little weird. So I'm wearing San Jose Sharks, and that is because, well, as a Vegas Golden Knights fan, the biggest opponent that we hate is the San Jose Sharks, and, well, I think the Vegas Golden Knights fans are going to hate me, and so I just wanted to add a little fuel to the fire. I have to side with the Minnesota Wild, you know. So the thing about the Minnesota Wild and the Vegas Golden Knights is that this seems to be the one team that just dominates us every single time that we play. And it's hard to watch. You know, I love both of these teams. Of course, I'm cheering for the Vegas Golden Knights, but Minnesota just has something over the Golden Knights. Now, the Golden Knights, a lot of fans are going to pick them to win this because, hey, regular season doesn't matter. It's all about the playoffs. And sure, I agree with that, but we will have to wait and see. There's just some mental block that the Golden Knights have where the Minnesota Wild just seems to dominate them. And we'll have to see if they can do it again in the series. If the Golden Knights can win the series, they have a good chance of playing the Colorado Avalanche in round 2, which will be an exciting series. If not, it'll be the Minnesota Wild, which will be another fun Central Division matchup. But that's just my predictions. This game, man, I love these two teams. I want it to go to 7, but I think the Minnesota Wild will win it in 6. But those are my predictions. If you guys have any of your predictions, go ahead and let me know down below. I will be trying to respond to as many of them. Let me know who you guys are rooting for. And honestly, can we just all agree that hockey is awesome? And I can't wait for these playoffs. And that's the final score. Thank you and good night.